Hey there, listener. Jasmine here. Little Devils is still on hiatus, and we're trying to find ways to create new episodes for you. And in the meantime, I'll try and put out occasional stories here and there on this feed. And also, I'm going to introduce you to some podcasts that I personally love and that have some kind of connection to our show, Little Devils. In this episode, I'll be doing exactly that. And I want to just quickly touch on the last episode of our show. You know, the one where I faced my own little devil, my disappearance. And in case you haven't listened to that one yet, now's the time to go back and do it. When that episode came out, so many listeners got in touch with me because there's something that resonates in that story of adult children and siblings and parents. And I thought a lot about why it is that my personal worst side almost always comes to shine when I'm around the people who probably, if we're honest, love me most in this world. Why is that? Why is it that I'm more tempted to be short and snappy and harsh and impatient with somebody like my mom than I would maybe, probably, hopefully, be with a friend? In this next story, Talia Augustidis is wondering something quite similar because whenever she does stand-up comedy, there seems to be a little devil sitting on her shoulder, directing almost all of her jokes towards her dad. And I love that story. I just love to witness how Talia confronts her little devil by talking to her dad. And there are these little moments where you can subtly make out Talia's feelings. Because if you know Talia, there's something about the way that she talks that is so calm and composed and cool, which makes these little glimpses of emotion that she allows us to hear all the more precious. This story is part of the new season of Talia's podcast, UnReality. It's a show that exists in a place where fact and fiction collide, and I really encourage you to go and subscribe and follow that show because it's awesome. But for now, here is Dad Jokes by Talia Augustidis.
So, I want to preface this by saying that I love you.
Love you too.
Good. So, did I tell you that I've started a stand-up course?
Talia Augustidis! Hi everyone.
So, I've been writing material for a 5-minute set.
Give me a cheer if you hate landlords. Who didn't cheer? Get them, eat them, seize their means.
How would you feel if you were in the material?
Do I have a choice?
No, but
I hate landlords, fuck landlords. My landlord is a parasite who bleeds me dry and feeds into a system where those with means gain and those without are left to rot. Or as I call him, Dad.
I mean, yeah, not bad. Yeah, it's allowed, fine. Yeah, I mean, I can see the comic effect, and I don't mind you sort of doing it, but I can also see it resonates with a lot of young people from your generation that end up having to have their parents as landlords because they can't afford to move out. So, yeah.
I mean, that's my next one. It's
Dads can't live with them, can't afford to live in London without them.
You see, it writes itself.
No, I wrote it.
It's fine. I pay my rent. He pays for my therapy. Wealth redistribution.
Do you feel like a parasite that feeds into a broken capitalist system where those with means gain and those without are left to rot?
Sometimes, but got to pay the bills.
But why do other people have to pay your bills?
Because I've worked hard to earn the way to pay the bills.
Give me a cheer if you hate landlords.
Then my next joke, this one's unfortunately quite true, is
I have become a kind of renter's rep for our flat. He tries to come over and I'm like, actually, as per clause 8 in our contract, the landlord is not allowed on the premises without 48 hours advance notice. And then it comes to rent day and I'm like, for me? Your daughter? That's silly.
Do you feel like that rings true at all?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, I mean, you're not late with the rent because you don't have any rent to pay. But
Yeah, I can't talk about how I am honest. Yeah. I used to pay rent.
really,
I do not used to. Anyway.
the parasites. So yeah, moving onwards.
So then the next bit is all about how I have stage fright,
I have stage fright.
and it talks a lot about beta blockers.
And so this performance is sponsored by beta blockers. Any fans in? Woo! Anxiety or high blood pressure. It's a versatile pharmaceutical.
How I got them.
All you need to do is fill out a form. It takes about 2 minutes. And then at the very end, you tick this box that says, I will tell my GP about this. Which is kind of like the label on the Q-tip boxes that is like, do not shove this in your ear holes. And we're all like, okay, sure. Or the warning on thermometers that is like, not for rectal use. Where's the fun in that?
And then it sort of goes into this finish.
It kind of rocked me because I used my stage fright as a bit of a crutch. I wanted to be a comedian, but I was too afraid. I wanted to walk at my graduation, but I was scared. My dad asked me to speak at his wedding, but I couldn't bear the thought of getting up in front of all of those people and saying something nice about him. Don't feel sorry for him. He's a landlord. We hate them. Remember where you came from.
Give it up for Talia Augustidis!
I couldn't bear the thought of getting up in front of all of those people and saying something nice about him. No, that one didn't hit.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think it's as funny as the landlord one, but I mean, you can use it. I'm not going to tell you off, whatever. But I think the fact that you did a recording, and kind of nailed it was kind of funny.
But I feel like maybe you're misunderstanding the context. Like, I'm not going to get up on stage and say, oh, I made a really loving speech for my dad, which I pre-recorded because I had stage fright. Like, that's not very funny.
As is clear to everyone that meets them, Dad and Ruby just work together. Work, of course, not in the labour sense of the word.
Although, kind of looking back, I did put a few digs in there, so it kind of was my first stand-up thing in a way.
But they work because Ruby's loud and Dad has selective hearing. Because Ruby knows how to make fun of Dad and Dad has selective hearing. Ruby's funny and Dad is, it just works.
But ultimately it was a loving speech, and just saying, oh, I really love my dad isn't funny to me.
But it's not only within their relationship that they work well together. Since being with Ruby, our dad has been noticeably more inquisitive and interested in our lives. And it's not that he loves us any more now than he's always done, but somehow it's as if Ruby taught him how to communicate it. And for that, we are immensely grateful. So congratulations on your wedding, and here's to your future. Taya and I are honoured to be a part of it.
I guess what I wanted to talk about more broadly was the fact that, I think I felt a lot of guilt of like, why are all of my jokes leading to you in a negative way? I kept thinking of it like, do you know that theory of evolution where everything evolves eventually into a crab?
No.
Well, that's how I felt like it was. It was like I would write these other jokes about different things and they would eventually evolve into hating my dad.
Okay.
And to be clear, like when people ask me like, oh, so you have a bad relationship with your dad? I'm like, no, I don't. I love my dad. But I do think it comes from some sort of place of truth.
I mean, okay, first of all, your mum's not around, so, there's only one living parent to kind of hate or love. And, this kind of, kids, parents thing, and it's kind of a tale as old as time. Teenagers hating their parents and eventually coming around and then, realizing that there are a lot of similarities.
Do you hate me ever?
Well, you can be sort of difficult to deal with, but I wouldn't say hate, no.
I guess maybe the material is tame, but for me it was coming from a place of anger. I don't know. Like I do feel angry with you and I don't know why.
Well, I think it is partly because you felt let down, that I was probably away too much or too occupied with my work, and was quite drained from it. And that I can never, get back. Also, have a very bad choice for your stepmother. So I think these two combined, when you were going through teenage years, would make anyone angry.
This is where you might say sorry.
Okay, I'm really sorry.
You don't have to say it if you don't want to say it.
No, I do. I'm really sorry.
That's okay. I'm sorry too. I know I can be difficult. Very difficult.
When is your next show? When can we come and see you?
There's probably only one show and I'm not sure I want you to be there.
No, I won't tell you. I'll just sit in the back and heckle.
Landlords have rights. Justice
Your
for
rights have gone up.
landlords. No, for your own daughter, no.
This was Dad Jokes by Talia Augustidis. It was published as an episode of the new season of UnReality. Every episode of UnReality is a little bit different. They're all fairly short and fun. And I particularly liked the episode called Breakfast on Tiffany. And I definitely giggled a bunch while I was listening to that. So go and find UnReality in your podcast app now. You won't regret it. UnReality is created by Talia Augustidis, powered by Transmission Roundhouse. As for this feed, stay tuned for what's to come and stay in touch on Instagram at Little Devils Show, all in one word. Or you can find me. I'm Jasmine Bayumi. That is Jasmine, no E's, no Z's, JASMIN BAUOMY. Little Devils is a TRZ media production.